sometimes even the dollar store. So anyway, we will begin to prepare for the practice, both mentally and physically. Close down the eyes and take a moment to settle in. And one of the ways that we use the props in a practice, whether it's a yoga block or a strap or sitting on some height at the beginning of the class, is not because you're ineffective in any way, of course. It's just that the postures will enable you to still breathe deeply while you're in the pose, because ultimately, through the practice of yoga, that's the most important thing. If in your cross-legged position, otherwise known as Sukhasana, you're struggling just to be here, simply sliding a towel under your hips can lift the pelvis up, tilt it slightly forward, and allow you to find a nice long spine. So assess for yourself now whether or not you're able to breathe deeply in this posture. If you can imagine stacking each of the vertebrae one on top of the other. If you can lift and lengthen from the crown of the head, all of these things indicators that you're sitting on the appropriate height or no height at all. Now visualize your shoulder blades, those two triangular shaped bones just sort of beneath the shoulders themselves. And if you can imagine that my thumb is between the shoulder blades drawing slightly forward, you'll feel a lift of your heart center. You can broaden across the collarbones, feel the shoulder heads, the rounded portion of the shoulders, drawing back into the shoulder sockets and down away from the ears. And take your chin parallel to the floor. Draw back from the center of the back of the skull. You can imagine aligning your ears over your shoulders, shoulders over the hips. If you can't tell whether or not you're sitting with that alignment in an upright position such as this, then you can lean against a wall and it can be quite enlightening. And return to the base of the posture once again, outer edges of the feet connecting with the mat. You might flex the feet so that the toes move in the direction of the knees. And then feel the weight of your hands on your knees, allowing the knees to release down towards the floor. Draw your lower belly in and up. Visualize your front hip bones lifting up towards the lower rib cage, so a shortening along the front line of the body as you engage your core, and a lengthening along the back line of the body. So your feet and sitting bones are the foundation of this posture. Anchor down through those points as a means, excuse me, as a means to sit taller. And finally, bring your awareness to your breath. Start to breathe more deeply. Filling up the lungs completely. So take your longest, deepest inhalation. Followed by your longest and fullest exhale. Now connect the impact of your breath on your posture. Challenge yourself not to allow the shoulders to lift towards the ears as you breathe in. Lengthening along the front line of the body. Exhale, shoulders are heavy. Low back lengthening, sitting bones grounding. And take 3 more breaths. Deepest inhale without lifting the shoulders. Fullest exhale without rounding through the upper back. And take one more inhale, sit taller. Exhale and round your spine, draw the chin towards the chest, soften your shoulders inwards. And we'll take 2 extra breaths here, pressing the belly back towards your spine and your spine back towards the floor behind you. Draw the chest through the arms, take an inhale, lift your heart center. Exhale as you round chin to the chest, navel to the spine, spine towards the floor behind you. Inhale, lift the heart center. Last time, exhale, round, pause, then move into spinal rotations. Keep your sitting bones anchored downwards into the floor. Again, that's your foundation. And you want to keep the foundation anchored so that you can lengthen along the side body across the rib cage, through the shoulders. On your next inhale, change the direction. Allow your rotations to get smaller and smaller and smaller as you cycle back towards a midline. Stack one vertebra on top of the next. Inhale, sit tall. Suspend your breath. And slowly and patiently exhale. Exhale. Empty out the lungs. And allow the breath to find its natural rhythm. Open the eyes, change the crossing of your legs. Have them extended out in front if that's more comfortable. Plant your right hand, take the left arm up and along the plane of the cheek. So we start to move the spine through all of its ranges of motion. Starting with a nice lateral stretch. Breathe into your left rib cage. Inhale, come back up through center. Take a spinal twist facing left. Right hand comes to your left knee. Now try to feel that your rib cage is rotating around the axis of the spine. Lean slightly forward. Come up onto your left fingertips. Anchor the sitting bones down. Sit tall, breathe in. And again, rib cage around the axis of the spine as you exhale. And unwind back to neutral. Plant your left hand. Take the right arm up and along the plane of the cheek. Push into your lower hand. Fan open the right rib cage. Reach from the inner seam of the arm. And with your inhale, come all the way up. A spinal twist facing right. Left hand comes to the right knee. Take your awareness to the rib cage. The lower belly in and up. Come up onto the right fingertips, which are fairly close to the base of the spine. Lean slightly forward using your abdominals. Anchor the sitting bones down, breathe in. Last time to exhale and deepen the twist. Unwind back to center. Uncross your legs, straighten them out. Give the knees a little bit of a shake. And then separate the feet approximately hip-width distance apart so the legs aren't side by side, but they're not your widest position either. Tent the fingertips in behind your hips, roll your shoulders back and down. Sitting bones anchored down, thighs anchored down, calf muscles anchored down. Visualize my thumb between your shoulder blades, lifting your heart center towards the sky. So not necessarily the chin, which stays parallel to the floor, but you're arching and opening through the upper back. the exact opposite of what you would do if you're hunched forward at a desk. Maintain a little bit of that arch and press into the fingertips, lean your torso forward, squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other. Now the tendency is to lead from the head simply because our eyes tend to lead the way that the body moves, but instead soften your gaze slightly back and imagine that you want the very first thing to come to the floor to be your belly button, not your nose. Press through the inner seams of the legs, the mounds of the big toes. Attempt to draw just the baby toes up in the direction of your ears. And come on back to center. Swing your legs to the side, come onto the hands and knees. Start to move through your best movement for maintaining a healthy spine, that cat-cow action. With an inhale, lift your sitting bones up. Draw the gaze forward, drag the hands towards you without moving them. Exhale and round, push your hands forward on the mat, tuck the chin in towards the chest, squeeze the belly towards the spine. Inhale, the gaze forward, the chest through the gate of the arms. Exhale, round, scoop your tailbone under, pull the belly in. Last one, inhale, arching. And exhale as you round. Come to a flat back position. Notice the tendency of letting the belly sink down towards the floor and just sinking into the wrists. So try not to do that. Really engage your core. Pull the belly in towards the spine. Extend your left leg out. Press through the heel. Find a stretch in your left calf muscle. Squeeze your left glutes. Lift the left leg up. So definitely pad underneath the knee if there's any discomfort there. Now stretch your right arm overhead. So this week's password being balance. One of the most effective exercises for strengthening the muscles of the back line of the body, and of course training your balance as well. So take one more inhale, stretch through the fingertips, press back through the heel, and exhale, lower both down to the mat. Extend your right leg, toes turned under, press back through the right heel. Draw the rib cage away from the floor. Pick the right leg up, it's not too high. Squeeze your right glutes, extend your left arm forward, stretch through the fingertips, press back through the right heel. And lower both down. Now, because I always did this live, we'll do it again. Now in our virtual class, you'll extend your left leg, use your left glutes, pull the belly in towards the spine, and extend your left arm. Lower the hand and the knee down. Extend your right leg, pull the belly in, and extend your right arm. Notice if one side is more difficult than the other. And lower both down. Find your way up into downward facing dog. Straighten out the legs. Just scan your body to get a sense for how you feel your first downward facing dog of the day. Then pedal out the heels, a little shift of the hips. And back to neutral. See that the heels hide behind the toes, outer edges of the feet parallel with the outer sides of the mat. Visualize your outer hips lifting up towards the sky. As you do that, you start to move towards hollowing out the belly. Draw the lower belly in and up, supporting your lower back. Walk the hands to your feet, come to the back of the mat, soften the knees if there's any low back sensitivity. Fold forward over the legs. Release the crown of the head towards the floor. So here's where having one or two blocks can be really useful if the hamstrings are tight, or if your back muscles are tight and you're folding forward, then you can kind of come halfway down in this position. The body acclimates to that position. If your elbows start to bend, you would lower down onto the lower height. Same thing, if the elbow is bent, you've got a little bit more space. You can take it down another lower height and eventually come down to the floor. And take opposite hand to elbow. So now you don't have the support of the hands. You're just relying on the strength of your legs. Look at your feet. Notice if the outer edges of the feet are still parallel with the outer sides of the mat. If they're not, adjust them. Lift up your toes, take the weight into the mounds of the big toes. So just lift up those 10 digits, bring the weight into the mound of the big toes, and then soften the digits back down without clenching. Shift from side to side, maintaining that position with your feet. And come to center. Take your hands to your low back. Squeeze your elbows towards each other. Don't do anything just yet. So squeeze the elbows towards each other. You're working your rhomboid muscles to do that. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards the spine. Use your hands to press the tailbone down towards the floor. Anchor down through the feet with an inhale. Come on up. Keep pressing your tailbone towards the floor, lengthening through your lower back. Slide the hips forward, lift your heart center, keep pressing the tailbone towards the floor. Squeeze your elbows together. Press the mounds of the big toes into the earth. And return to center. Interlace your fingers behind you. Take the flat part, the front of the thumbs, to your tailbone, so that you can press the tailbone down towards the floor. Palms of the hands come all the way together, elbows bent. Squeeze your elbows back towards each other as though you want them to touch. Now visualize again my thumb between the shoulder blades, lifting your heart center. You don't have to lift the chin to lift the chest. Keep squeezing the elbows back. Maybe you feel a stretch across the fronts of the shoulders. Keep sending the tailbone down towards the floor. Maintain that arching in the upper back, thumb between the shoulder blades, fold forward. Draw the belly tight towards the spine. Start to float the arms up off the back. You can straighten them out. Drop your left shoulder towards the floor. Bend your left knee, look to the right. Press into the mound of the big toe on your left side. Inhale back to center, bend your right knee, drop your right shoulder, look left. Press the mound of the big toe on the right side into the floor. Inhale back to center, fold all the way forward over the legs, pushing your feet into the earth. Arms lift up. You'll feel that the shoulders start to creep up towards the ears, simply with gravity pulling them in that direction. Counter the pull of gravity. Lower your hands to the floor and start to walk your way forward, downward facing dog. So right now, torso is facing towards the midline, moving towards the center of the knees, so in between the knees. Take a bend in your right knee, keep pressing your torso back along that same line, so you're not leaning to the right. Deep bend in the right knee, you can come right up onto the ball of that foot. Keep pressing your torso back towards the space between the legs. Bring your right knee to the floor. Bend your left knee, keep pressing the torso back along that medial line. Come right up onto the ball of the left foot. And straighten out the left leg. Rise up high onto your toes, look forward, make your way to the top of the mat, lift and lengthen halfway up once you get there. And then fold forward over the legs. Now bring your thumbs to your hip crease, tops of the thighs. Strengthen your glutes by rooting down through the feet, and with an inhale, rise up, but pull the hips firmly forward. Right hand comes to the hip. Stretch your left arm up, take the hand in behind your head and hinge over to the right. Slide your hips over to the left. Squeeze your inner knees towards each other, whether or not the feet are side by side or hip width distance, use your inner thigh muscles. Take the right hand more towards the top of the right thigh, pull the hips forward like you just did to come to standing, and lean the weight of your head into your hand. Inhale, come back up through center. Take the left hand to the hips, stretch your right arm up. Right hand comes in behind the head. Hinge to the left, slide your hips to the right. Press the mounds of the big toes down, root down actively through the feet. And take the left hand more towards top of the thigh. Pull your hips forward, lean the back of the head slightly back. And inhale, come on back to center. Bring the hands to the hips, separate your feet at least hip width distance apart. Take the outer edges of your feet, parallel with the outer sides of the mat. Your middle fingers are top of the hip crease. Hinge forward so that the middle fingers slide deeply into that hip crease, come all the way down between the legs. And then you could just slide the hands down the legs with you as far as they'll go. Press the mounds of the big toes into the floor. So sinking down through the inner edges of the feet. Torso is along that medial line as it was in downward facing dog. Bend your left knee. Pull against the legs gently to come into a deeper forward fold. Straighten the left leg, bend your right knee. Keep the torso tracking the center line. Straighten out both legs, take the hands to the hips again, strengthen your glutes, root down through the feet with an inhale, pull the hips strongly forward and step the feet hip width distance. Arms reach up, inhale, hands down through the heart center, slide your hips way back, exhale. Lower your hands, fingertips to the floor, block or shins as you inhale and lift back up. Exhale to a deeper forward fold. Reach the arms to the sides, rise up, inhale, bring your hands to your heart center, and exhale. Inhale, arms up overhead. This time, reach them out to the sides. Exhale, slide your hips back, forward fold. Lift halfway up, breathe in. A deeper forward fold, exhale. Rise up with an inhale. Cross your wrists overhead. Bring the palms of the hands to meet. Interlace your fingers. Straighten out the arms. Mine don't go entirely straight. And then hinge over to the right. Draw the hips forward and imagine doing a little bit of an abdominal crunch. Shorten the front side of the body. Rise back up through center. Inhale. And over to your left. Exhale. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, slide your hips back, a forward fold. Lift halfway up, breathe in. And a deeper forward fold as you exhale. Take a nice deep bend in the knees. Step your right foot back to a deep lunge. If your fingertips don't come to the floor, if the hips feel tight, another way that you can very effectively use the block is you would have one hand on the block and one hand on your upper thigh. Draw the belly in as though you want to hover the belly above that left thigh. Align the outer edge of the left foot with the outer side of the mat. Now take a nice deep bend in the right knee. Exhale and press your right heel back. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale and press your heel back. Last time, inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, right leg straight. Spin your right heel to the floor. With an inhale, rise up, warrior B. You'll have the arms outstretched, squaring off to the long edge of the mat. So the front knee is as bent or as straight as you feel like having it today. Slide into the front knee if you want to work a little bit more on those front thigh muscles, quadriceps. Press the outer edge of your back foot into the floor. Pull your hips forward, lift your front hip bones up. If you're not sure where the hip bones are, or if you want to give the shoulders a little break, you can take your fingers to that hip bone, lift it up, engage your core, slide the tailbone down towards your back heel. Take an inhale, straighten out both legs, arms overhead, press your hands together. Exhale, rebend into the front knee, and maybe you slide into a bit of a deeper stretch. Pause here as you use all of those same cues, outer edge of the right foot grounded, front knee sliding forward, hip bones lifting up, tailbone towards the back heel. Inhale, straighten out the leg, arms up, palms pressed. Exhale, bend the knee, maybe a little bit deeper. Hold for 3. And last time, inhale, straighten the legs. Reach your arms up, cross your wrists, take the palms together, interlace your fingers. Hinge to the right, rest the head on the lower arm, use the hand to tug on the upper one, and find a nice long stretch through the left side. Release the arms as you come up through center, moving into triangle pose. Reach left, slide your left sitting bone to the right. Now for balance, typically your torso will lean forward in this pose. Try to lean your torso back, but pull the hips forward, strengthening the glutes. When you look down at your left foot, the nose is aligned with the second toe. Hold for 3. Lower your right fingertips to the floor, pivot onto the ball of the back foot as you bend the front knee so you're facing the short edge of the mat, facing forward. Step your right foot in just a touch. Walk your right fingertips forward, take an inhale, reach your left arm up for a twist. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Press the inner edge of your left foot into the mat. Good. And lower the left hand down and straighten out your left leg, fold forward. Doesn't have to get all the way straight. Just straighten it out as much as you can. Crown of the head towards the top of the foot so that you're looking at that knee. Bend the knee, push off the back foot, step forward, and fold. Bring your hands to your hips, root down through the feet. Inhale, rise up, pull the hips forward. Exhale, a baby back bend. And return to neutral. Stretch the arms up overhead. Exhale and fold over the legs, slide your hips back. Take a big step back with the left foot. Feel free to use a block under the left hand, right hand on the upper thigh. If you don't have a block, both hands can be on the right thigh. Draw the navel to the spine. Align the outer edge of your right foot with the outer side of the mat. Slide the tailbone towards the back heel. Then as you inhale, bend your left knee, sink the hips down nice and low. Exhale, push your left heel back, straighten the leg. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, press your left heel back. Inhale, bend. Exhale, extend. Slide your left heel to the floor. Rise up to warrior beat. Press into your front heel. Inhale, come all the way up. Outstretch the arms. Determine how wide of a stance you'd like. How deep of a bend you want in the front knee. Lift the front hip bones. If you forget where they are, you can use your fingertips and manually lift them up. You'll feel your core engage. Slide the tailbone down towards the back heel. Hold and breathe. Straighten out the front leg, reach the arms up overhead. Inhale, press the palms together. Exhale, bend the knee. Hold. Squeeze your left glutes. Seal the outer edge of your left foot into the floor. Inhale, straighten the leg, arms up, palms press. Exhale and bend the knee. Hold for 3. Straighten the leg, inhale, arms up. Cross your wrists. Take the palms together, interlace your fingers, hinge left. Press your hips forward. Fan open the right rib cage. Inhale, rise all the way up, release the arms, move into triangle pose, so reach right. Try not to lean forward. Left arm spins up. Float the chin off the chest. A baby back bend with the upper back, so my thumb between your shoulder blades, drawing the heart center forward. Lower your hand to the mat, left hand to the floor, pivot onto the ball of the back foot, face forward, top of the mat. Step your left foot in just about half a foot, not too far. Left fingertips walk forward, stretch your right arm up for the twist. So keep anchoring down through the inner edge of your right foot, the mound of the big toe. Squeeze your inner thigh muscles towards each other. Lower the right hand down and straighten out your left leg just as much as you can. Fold forward, crown of the head towards the top of the foot. Rebend into the knee, push off your left foot, step forward, and fold over the legs. Take the hands to the hips with an inhale, rise up, pull your hips forward, use the glutes. Exhale, a baby back bend, lift your heart center, and return to neutral. Keep the hands on the hips. Shift the weight into your right foot. Draw the left knee in, but not necessarily towards the chest. So align your left knee on top of the ankle. Grab a wall or a desk or a couch or bed or whatever you need to feel more balanced. Bring the palms together. Now we'll guide the knee out over to the left. Point the knee down towards the floor. Lift the knee back up. A big circle through that hip joint. And at the same time, challenging your balance. Now, the last time you take it out to the side, move into your tree pose. Focus the gaze on a single still point. And inhale the arms up overhead. Lower the hands and the foot down. Take the hands back to the hips. Shift the weight into your left foot. Draw the right knee in. Knee aligned over the ankle. Palms come to the heart center. Draw the knee out to the right. Point it down towards the floor. Lift it back up. Big circles. One more time. And take it to the right for your last time before guiding the foot somewhere along the opposite leg. Stretch the arms up overhead, inhale. And exhale to lower the hands down. Come to the top of the mat. Step your feet wider than mat width distance, or maybe feet along the outer edges, wherever you need to be so that you don't feel like your feet will slip. Slide the hips back towards the wall behind you. Lower your fingertips to the floor or onto a block. Pivot the toes out 30 degrees, tuck the heels in and bend your knees. Take the hands onto the thighs, lift your torso up. Pull the hips forward, lean your upper body back. Front hip bones lift, tailbone drops down towards the floor. So I don't know about you, but already without hardly going any further or holding here for any period of time, I'm really feeling it in the upper thigh muscles. Keep using your outer hips to squeeze the knees back. Seal the baby toe sides of the foot into the floor. Sink a little bit deeper. Hip bones up, tailbone scooping, gaze focused. Hold for 3. And finally, straighten out your legs. Turn the toes back in. Interlace your hands behind you. Take the awkward interlacing. Bring the palms of the hands right close together. Take the front part of the thumbs, the flat part against the tailbone. Press your tailbone towards the floor. Squeeze your elbows towards each other. Without lifting your chin necessarily, lift your heart center. Keep squeezing the elbows towards each other, lower halfway down. Start to float the arms up and come all the way down. Push your feet into the floor. Shift the arms from side to side. Lower your hands to the mat. Step your feet back to hip width distance. Find your way to downward facing dog. Take a nice big step back. Hold for 5 deep breaths. If you'd rather be in child's pose, then by all means move into a child's pose. Try to wrap the outer shoulders around so that the outer sides of the arms move as though you're trying to hide the armpits, and there's a broadening across the upper back. As the mounds of the big toes and mounds of index fingers into the floor. And bring your knees to the mat. Your version of child's pose. Lots of variations here. You might sit all the way back towards the heels. You might rest the forehead on a block, and a block has lots of different heights. You might be just on the forearms, hanging out here. Whichever feels most easeful. And whichever enables you to breathe deeply. Now make your way onto the stomach and the forearms. So however you need to do that, definitely doesn't have to be a graceful transition. Lowering down onto the stomach and onto the forearms. Start with your arms a little bit further forward, which is easier on the lower back and enables you to really get the alignment of the particular pose. So moving into our Sphinx pose. First, press the inner edges of the hands into the floor and just allow the weight of your hips and pelvis to feel like dead weight. So it's hanging heavily down in the direction of the heels. Relax the buttocks muscles. Walk the forearms and hands in a little bit closer to each other. Then you can bend the elbows and rest the chin into the palms of the hands. Now attempt to drag the chin forward towards the wall in front of you. See if you can feel a stretch along the jawline, front of the neck. And you're just resting the weight of the head into the hands. So try your best not to hold the head up. Let it sink into the hands. And then come back to that visualization, my thumb between your shoulder blades, drawing the center of the heart forward. See if you can feel that opening in the upper back. And release the arms down. Lower your forehead towards the floor. Take your arms alongside of your body. Press the tops of the feet into the mat, all 10 toenails, baby toenails especially. Then gently engage your glutes. So squeeze your buttocks muscles. Send the tailbone in the direction of your heels. Lift the kneecaps high up off the mat, really firming your upper thigh muscles. Keep the backs of the hands onto the floor, but squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other as we've been doing through the class. So fronts of the shoulders move away from the mat. Inhale, lift the chest up, squeeze the shoulder blades together. You don't have to lift the gaze up. Keep the chin softening down. Then attempt to pull those front hip bones towards the front of the mat. So it might look as though you're not hardly moving, but boy, you're feeling something. Legs, glutes, maybe along the front of the body. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades together, pressing your front hip bones down, drawing the lower belly in and up towards the heart center. And then release. Slide your hands under your shoulders. Turn your toes under, press back just to a tabletop, all four. Walk your hands out over to the right. Slide your hips back towards your left heel. For balance, slide the right hand in a little bit closer to you. Inch the left fingertips as far forward as they'll go. Soften your outer left shoulder down and breathe along that left side body. Press into the hands, lift yourself up. Walk your hands back through neutral position, all the way over to your left. Slide the hips back towards your right heel. Slide the left hand in a little bit closer to you. Soften your outer right shoulder down and breathe into your right side body. Press into your hands, lift back up through center. Walk the hands in towards you, swing your legs over to the right side. Turn to face forward, but take a wide space between your feet. Bring the hands in behind you, rest the weight into your hands, so full weight of your body into your hands like you're hanging out here. And drop both knees out over to the right. Try to flex your feet so that you come onto the outer and inner edges of the feet respectively. So inner edge of the left foot, outer edge of the right one. Press your left knee down. Inhale back through center. Exhale, drop them over to the left. And I'm rocking right over onto my left hip. So the right one pops up off the floor. Inner and outer edges of the feet. Right knee pressing down. Inhale back up through center. Now see if you can come up onto your fingertips. Lean your torso a little closer to the thighs. Walk the hands in a little bit closer to you so you're sitting more upright. And again, drop your legs out over to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, take them over to the left. Back up through center, over to the right, and then you'll hold here. So tuck your left foot in, reconnect the right foot to your left thigh, and sit more upright. So you could tuck the left foot in and still have the toes pointing towards the side wall, or you could tuck it in so that you're more on the top of that foot, whichever the knee is more agreeable to. Rise up onto your fingertips, draw the center of your heart forward, and just allow the sitting bones to anchor down. And then take the hands in front and walk your way forward. Nice and easy, and you don't have to come forward far at all, just enough to feel a stretch in through the hips. And maybe you move a little bit more to the left or a little more to the right. Moving right tends to be a little bit easier. You can lower down onto the palms of the hands or even the forearms if that's accessible for a more restful variation. Hold and breathe. Walk the hands back in towards you. Swing your left leg around, have it pointing straight ahead. Reconnect the right foot to the left inner thigh and walk your way forward over the front leg. And come back up to center. You'll bend the left knee again, plant the feet. Take the weight into your hands like you're just hanging out. Draw both legs out over to the right, center, and left. Center. Come up onto the fingertips, walk the hands in a little bit closer. Be a little bit more upright with the torso. Drop your legs out over to the right, center, and left. Then we'll stay here. Tuck that right foot in. Reconnect left foot, right thigh. Adjust the right foot in order to make the knee nice and comfortable. Come up onto the fingertips, lift your heart center, squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. Anchor the sitting bones down, maybe feel especially that right sitting bone anchoring down. Now, if you can't find a happy position with the knee, then just come right into leg extended straight out in front. Start to walk your way forward any amount until you feel a stretch in through the hip. And then maybe you adjust, moving a little more to the right or to the left as you see fit. Sink into the hands or the forearms, or here you could slide a block under the hands or forearms again, just kind of lifting the floor up. And come back up to center. And swing the right leg around. Reconnect left foot, right thigh, and walk your way forward over that front leg. And find your way back up to center. Point your knee up to the sky. Bend the right knee. Wrap your arms around your legs. Press the spine back towards the mat behind you. Soften the chin towards the chest. So here you're feeling the opposite with the upper back. Imagine the spine protruding back towards the floor behind you. rather than that valley that we've been creating between the shoulder blades. Then come to neutral. Find your way to the top of the mat. Take the arms alongside of the body. Look at your belly button. Create a C shape with the spine and curl down one vertebra at a time. Send the tailbone in the direction of the heels as you lower down in slow motion. Rounded through the upper back, but bottom points of the shoulder blades are hovering above the mat. So come to that place where bottom points of the shoulder blades hover above the floor. Maybe you're feeling that shakiness with the core like I am. Hold for 3. And all the way down. As you come all the way down, bend your knees, walk your heels in towards your hips, stretch the arms out to the sides in a T shape, palms down. Feet are hip width distance apart. Draw both legs out over to the left. And then you can visualize that same stretch that we did just recently from the upright position. So soften your right knee down towards the floor. Soften the rib cage down towards the earth and the navel towards the spine. Swing your legs back up to center. Inhale. Drop them out over to the right. Your left knee releasing down towards the floor. Soften the rib cage down. Navel towards the spine. And swing your legs back to center. Bring the knees into your chest, wrap the arms around the legs, give yourself a nice tight squeeze. Press the length of your spine downwards into the floor, press the backs of the shoulders downwards into the mat. Visualize the tailbone sliding forward, front hip bones lifting up. Lower your feet to the floor, release the legs, lower the arms down. And walk the legs forward, straighten them out. Allow the feet to soften out to the sides away from each other. Shavasana, your final relaxation. Rotate your palms to face the ceiling. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Feel that space between the shoulders and the ears, a nice lengthening through the sides of the neck. And allow everything to release to the pull of gravity. Imagine that the earth is supporting the full weight of your body. If you're familiar with places where you tend to hold tension, bring your awareness to those areas. Send a couple of deep breaths there. With every exhale, feel heavier. Remind yourself that for these last 3 minutes, arguably the most important 3 minutes of your practice, there is nowhere else that you need to be. Nothing else that needs to be done. At peace, content, integrating the benefits of the practice. 12 breaths. Bring your awareness to your breath and start to breathe more deeply. Awaken the body, wiggle the fingers and the toes. Rotate the wrists and ankles a couple of times in both directions. Inhale through the nose, extend the arms overhead. Lengthen the spine, point the toes. And through the mouth, exhale. Bring the knees to the chest. Rock and roll forward and back and side to side. And find your way back to a seated, cross-legged position. The eyes closed and the palms of the hands together at the heart center. Sealing the practice with the sound of Om, we take a conscious breath in. Namaste.